So the summer sale finally arrived, and it does come to me as a bit of a surprise because I had no idea when it was going to drop. Gaijin has been a little iffy about the updates as of late, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It gives them a bit more time to flesh things out a bit, although this last update wasn't really like that. It was pretty damn buggy. But hey, it's been over a week now. Things are getting pretty well fleshed out, and again, the sales are finally here. So with that being said, let's get through this talking head video. The whole purpose of this video isn't necessarily to get you to buy things. Now, I understand I have a discount link, which I'm going to tell you guys throughout this entirety of this video, but it's not the entire purpose of said video. I'm trying to help you decide on whether or not you should pick up specific vehicles, how I feel about them, and whether they would be a good purchase for you. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what you want to get. I'm just gonna give you a couple of pointers on some of the best purchases and likely some of the worst ones. Again, all of it is going to be based entirely around my own personal experiences. So your experience may vary, and I say this too, take it with a grain of salt. So with that being said, let's dive into this summer sale and see what they have. I have yet to take a look at the catalog, so this is going to be kind of almost like a reaction video. So let's begin. Oh, and yes, I am using the footage from what was supposed to be a release this morning, but I canned the project as part of the background. It doesn't sound that good, so you guys can completely ignore that. But here it is. Here is the shades on. It's time for the Sizzling summer sale blog. I can actually relate to this very much because I live in Vegas, and today it's going to be 111 degrees Fahrenheit. You can translate that to your local stuff, non-freedom units, I guess. And it was like that yesterday too, and it sucked. I mean, my electric bill is through the roof trying to keep this AC at 78. Yeah, so I can appreciate this. Scrolling down just a little bit, it's the summertime. Get a boost of good humor by replenishing your hangar with amazing high-ranking vehicles at great prices, blah, 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 right? But let's skip over that formality and jump right over to the actual list itself. And oh man, this is quite the list. We have the clickbait, we have the phantoms, the ML, we have all the high-ranking vehicles at 50% off. And this is nearly a 2-week sale too, by the way. So you have 11, 12 days to figure this out. And oh man, this sale is good. I'm not saying that to try to sell it to you guys. I'm just saying like, this is perfect. Now, I don't think Gaijin is going to be dropping any of these vehicles anytime soon, unless they already made mention of it. Also, I did forget to mention this is only for PC users. So if you're on console, I'm really sorry, guys. You have your own sales. It's not Gaijin's fault. That's the big thing I want to get out of the way. It's not their fault. Xbox and PlayStation, they have their own ecosystems, and they are very picky. I was explaining this a long time ago for other games where they have to go through a validation process, and they basically have to get permission from the bigger ups over in Sony and Xbox to sell their stuff. So I am sorry, my console users, but to us PC users, oh yeah, we've got some good deals going on. But let's take a look at the first one. I would not recommend the clickbait as much as I want to. It's a good vehicle, don't get me wrong. The Abrams is amazing. The problem is it's too easy to kill. At 11.3, you're gonna be fighting a lot in the top tier environment, and in fact, I really wouldn't recommend any of the endgame top tier vehicles, simply because if you're someone who is brand new to the top tier environment, you're going to put yourself in a very bad position. I mean, a really bad one at that too, where it's completely different compared to say 6.7, where you're, angling appropriately, you have APC-BC, you can actually have some bit of armor, right? Here, not so much. You have thermal sights, you have laser rangefinders, you have powerful darts, CAS F-16s. Trust me when I say, it is not a fun experience for the newbie. Now, skipping over all of these fixed-wing aircraft, this is really not my area of expertise. I don't even have many of these, to be honest. Let's look at the Leopard 2A4. This thing, for 32 Gaijin coin or dollars, local currency, of course, yeah, it's worth it. I'm telling you right now, the 10.3 environment is solid and is one area that I deeply enjoy even to this day. It's where I go to kind of get my top tier experience without it actually being top tier. The 284 is an absolutely brilliant vehicle, to which I have a video on it if you want to go ahead and check it out. In fact, I have a video for, I think, pretty much all of these ground vehicles we'll be talking about, and some of the CAS stuff too, but again, we're just talking about the ground stuff. It's worthwhile. DM23-120, it has good armor, it has great mobility, great optics, decent thermal sights. The Leopard 2s, in my honest opinion, is just, they're brilliant vehicles, and the 284, I think, is kind of the pinnacle when it comes to both protection, mobility, and firepower, and a well-balanced platform in a very stable environment-ish. I say stable because you can't really predict who's going to win or who's going to lose at 10.3. Unlike top tier, where most of the time, it's not really true right now, but if you had USA on your team, you would probably lose that game. One aviation, at least aircraft anyways, that I'll talk about is the A10. I love the A10s, don't get me wrong, these are fun. And seeing that there was a buff to the Maverick missiles in this update, I would recommend for 30 bucks the A10A. It's a solid vehicle. It's just good. I have to tell you that. Now, it is paper mache though, so if you get shot at, you will die. It is not an Su-25 where you can take 3 Stinger hits, an ATGM, and an air-to-air missile and survive, or at least fly long enough to get your munitions out. The A-10 is literal toilet paper. You will shoot this thing out very, very quickly, unfortunately. So if you know how to play with those stand-up munitions with the Mavericks, it can do very well. Although in this update, Maverick locking is a little funky, at least in my experience. Now, I would say for the next one, the Terms is a wonderful purchase. The problem I have with it now is I think the T80 UD is superior, although the UD is not on sale. Once it does go on sale for the Golden Eagle price, of course, I would say it is a superior purchase to this. The Terms is a good vehicle, don't get me wrong. It has great optics, it has good firepower. Its reload rate and protection are probably the biggest downsides about this, alongside its reverse rate being absolute doo-doo. The optics and firepower, what really sets this thing apart compared to, say, the UD, and those thermal sights are absolutely wonderful. So I would not really recommend it too much. It does fight around the 10.0, 10.3 environment anyways. It is something I would say, yeah, you can get into, but keep in mind you are kind of toilet paper. So if you can play this thing as a middle ground or even as a sniper, I would highly recommend it. Scrolling down just a little bit more, we have the 9105 XC8. Dude, listen. This is like the pinnacle, in my opinion, for top tier, or at least, excuse me, high tier light tanks. If you can master this vehicle, you will be able to master a ton of the Swedish top tier, including the Leopards, because yes, you have armor on the Leopard, etc. But if you understand that this thing can die even by 50 cal, you can become a better player with it. 5 seconds of reload, DM33-105, great optics, great mobility. The only downside about it is you have 0 armor. The name of the game of this thing would be Do Not Get Shot At. I have a couple of videos on this too, if you guys want to check it out, and a little bit of a history behind it. It got replaced. Yeah, it was the old CV9105. I think it was like XML or something like that. I forget the name of it, to be honest, where it was it was sitting at, I think, 9.0 or 8.7 back in the past, and it was not a good vehicle. It was decent, but they ended up replacing it entirely, which gave you a free vehicle upgrade to this one when it did come out. And then we have the Su-39, another aircraft that I would kind of recommend. This thing is nuts. In truth, I sometimes take this out over the tech tree version Su-25T, which in fact I do, because they're pretty much the same. It did, I think, recently get the KE missiles, which are basically long range 13, 14 kilometer missiles that hit like a truck. You get Vickers missiles, you get the ML rockets, and these things are nuts, in truth. A worthwhile purchase if you already have a high tier lineup. If you need a CAS loadout, this is a wonderful vehicle, and you will survive some decent hits. You also get, I believe, the IRCM, that's what it was, right, for the back of the vehicle, where IR missiles are gonna have a hard time locking onto you, so they have to go guns on you, or in this case, radar guided missiles, which you can kind of kiss your butt goodbye. Now, when I mentioned the M1 Abrams at the beginning, I would not recommend the clickbait. Instead, I would recommend this, the KVT, and it's not that much worse off compared to the clickbait. It is a wonderful vehicle, M774. It has great reload speed if you want to spend the 1 point something million Silver Lions, and as well as Golden Eagles to put an ace crew on this. You can get potentially a 5-second reload with a good vehicle sitting at a wonderful battle rating. I would recommend, however, taking off the the camo pattern. You just take off the module for it. Trust me, you'll be able to at least look behind you a little bit better, and players won't see you as just a KVT, because if they see you as a KVT, they'll understand that you have no turret armor, you have no hull armor, etc., and they'll be able to crack you open pretty quickly. And it does save you a little bit of weight, which means you get better mobility. It's insignificant, but it's kind of there. So I would recommend it for 32 bucks, absolutely. And then moving past the KA50, because in truth, I know one purchase that I would highly recommend if you like suffering in Britain is the Challenger DS. I love this thing. In fact, 10.0, 10.3 Britain is where I go to enjoy it, because the Challies, except for maybe the Challenger 3, they're not really that fun. And also the Challenger 3 recently got a nerf by losing its 1500 horsepower engine and going down to a 1200, and you can kind of feel it. This did get a buff fairly recently with, I believe, the L26 round, which makes this a very competitive vehicle around its BR. It has good mobility, good vertical targeting, good horizontal targeting, good optics. I mean, the Challenger DS is a worthwhile purchase in my honest opinion. And again, guys, I have videos for all of these vehicles I'm talking about. I think even the SU-39. So worthwhile in my opinion. We're not gonna talk about the Apaches. The 96A prototype, for some reason, is a good vehicle, right? It's basically a glorified T-72 with an APS, a soft kill APS, which around this battle rating is pretty okay. Generation 2 thermal sights, you have decent mobility, decent protection with the exception of that gigantic lower plate. And it's worth it in my opinion if you like to play China. And China will be getting some pretty gnarly vehicles in the near future. Now the 99A, the 99 or ZT4A1, the LCT are all wonderful vehicles. They just need a buff to reload rate, and if and when they ever get that, it'll be a formidable nation at top tier, which they kind of are already, but they might get a bit better. Now moving over to the T55AM1, yes, I'm just gonna say this, okay? Listen, if you have the money, if you have an extra bit of funds, I highly recommend the T55AM1. Every single video I've done about sales, I've always recommended you get this because it is a wonderful vehicle. 8.7, which is a great BR, laser rangefinder, BR412D, which is the 100mm APCBC round, which is a wonderful round. It is probably the best well-rounded APCBC round for its class. It has good armor, you have a good missile, you have good mobility. You would be amazed how well this thing can perform in a down tier and at tier. And in an up tier, it has the capabilities to fight. Now, the only exception to this vehicle is the Sabo, the Dart. It's kind of bad, but it will get the job done nonetheless. So this one gets a solid yes from me. And let's move over to the next page. What do we have now? The Leopard Pack. Yeah, you know what? The L44, I don't have it, believe it or not. I've seen it be put to good use. I don't need it. I prefer my 1A5, which means I've never needed to have this. I can't say yes or no. It is toilet paper. The Leopard ones are absolute toilet paper. They have good firepower, they have good optics, decent mobility, but understand that everything, including autocannons, will be able to kill you from the front very quickly. If you run into two S38s, you're dead. Simple as that. So you better get that first shot off. So this is a solid maybe from me. I'll let you guys throw down the comments down below in the comment section whether or not it is a worthwhile vehicle to get. And then we have the XM1, which, you know, it's becoming a hard sell. Yes, 9.3 is a good BR for this damn thing, but the problem is the M735 was recently nerfed to the point where, yeah, it's a good round. Don't get me wrong, it gets the job done, but I wouldn't recommend it anymore. Yes, you have a good platform, you have great mobility, you have decent level of protection. I wouldn't really trust it too much. You have good optics, a good thermal sight-ish for the type of optic that it has. I really wouldn't recommend it over the KVT, but if you want to fight in this better battle rating and you can withstand the terrible shell that it has nowadays, it can be a good vehicle and it can treat you well. In fact, now that I say it like that, I would kind of recommend it because it teaches you exactly where to shoot specific targets because you don't have a forgiving Sable type, which means you're going to have to put it in the soft spots, which makes you a better player overall, because if you can master this battle rating, you can master the top tier environment, as they do share a lot of similarities. And then we have the Type 16. You know, I'll be real with you, I like this thing. I really do. M735 as well, great thermal sights. It has the same sights as found on the Type 10, but you have the same drawback as you would find with the XM1. Did it recently get Type 93 PFSDS? If this got the Type 93 Dart, it's worth it 100%. But it is a wheeled vehicle after all, so keep that in mind. Also, I think we're missing a couple of wheeled vehicles, are we not? You know what? I'm not signed in right now, so I should be able to see everything, but no. Oh, that's right. They removed the Rui cat, huh? Yeah, they did. I would have said that's a good purchase, but it's gone now. The Type 16 can be worth it. Japan is a bit of a hard sell. They don't really have anything terribly unique outside of their aircraft, of course. But when it comes to their Type 10s, they're a little iffy. They're great. They're solid vehicles. Don't get me wrong. I love them. Most of the players I see play them are very experienced ones, and they know what they're doing, and they will kick your butt, which is why I fear them. But they're very easy to destroy. Less armor, sure, 4-second reload. Vertical targeting on them is pretty bad. It's really kind of iffy. I would recommend the Fuji over it, but the Fuji's not on sale. So if you want to play in a good environment, the Type 16 is a good purchase, but keep in mind, it can be a bit of a struggle bus. Wow, that was a 16-minute just monologue almost. I didn't expect to go that long on this, guys. I do apologize, but I wanted to go through the entirety of this video talking about some of the stuff I would recommend. And I know I've said this several times already, but please keep in mind, I do have a video for pretty much every single one of these vehicles minus the Leopard. So if you want to go ahead and have some good first-hand experience in a dedicated format, feel free to search that up on my channel, or I'll try to have the links down up here or below in the description. And also, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I'm sorry I wasn't able to pop out my CV9035 video. I was playing with a new codec for recording and audio. The recording was great, right? But the audio settings just... PCM and .mov file format is just, it's not good. And I figured that out the hard way, which cost me a video for today. But with all that being said, I do appreciate you guys very much for taking the time to watch this. Again, if you buy anything in the War Thunder store, don't forget to use my 3% discount. Now, it doesn't help you, unfortunately, but it does support me further as a creator. Just because you don't see that 3% on already discounted vehicles doesn't mean I don't get paid, because I still see 3% of the value being spent, which means I get paid. So that's an easy way to support me. You get my in-game decal. What's not to love? But still, this was fun, and I hope you guys did enjoy this talking head, and I will see you not only in the next video or even the streams, but most certainly in the upper BRs of this current sale. I'll see you next time.